Kia ora, good morning. So I've had a rest. I fell back asleep basically, listening to the dawn rising, and I've just woken up and I'm just having a coffee and um, continue the chat about the voices and what we started with schizophrenia. We went into the paranormal slash supernatural. Schizophrenia slash schizophrenia versus telepathy and telekinesis, clairvoyance, clairaudience, because you need to understand as well is that psychic isn't the science. The psychic isn't the science. Isn't the ability, it's the science. When you're talking about the psychic realms, the psychic sciences, you're talking about the name used for all the different categories that fit under the umbrella of the psychic sciences or psychic abilities. You're not psychic because it's saying I am a science, and so you need to call yourself clairaudient, clairsentient, that sort of thing. There's even like clairauric. So there's so many different terms that you call yourself, but you don't call yourself psychic. Psychic is the name of the science. It's like saying I'm a physics, I'm a quantum entanglement. Well, technically I am a quantum conundrum. But what ties all of this together between whether you're dealing with phenomenon and abilities that are on the negative side versus phenomenon and abilities that are on the positive side. What bridges the gap? And the whole thing that bridges the gap is faith. It is the highest vibration in the universe. Laughter, love, music, and faith are the four highest vibrations in the universe. They decide your whole evolution and how you navigate your way down the train track of life. If you imagine the train tracks being the threads that you're weaving into the tapestry of your timeline, with society running beside you and you doing the best you can, everybody knows that one bent pin, one wonky bar, and that's the whole train derailed. So everything has to run parallel to each other perfectly. You have to find the perfect balance between light and dark, so that you don't stray too far down one path and not up the other before you're ready or before you even get permission. Because the thing is, there are a lot of psychics and mediums and clairvoyants and paranormal investigators in that, and even presidents and prime ministers and world leaders who claim to be doing the work of God, who absolutely are not allowed anywhere near putting his name to their lips, but we still have them. TV evangelists and these evangelists and that are absolute agents of the devil. Hypocrisy for a start. Um, so when you're talking about faith, faith has absolutely nothing to do with God. And I'm going to explain it to you the way God explained it to me. When I thought, when he started creeping back into my life, when I started to realise that when I was developing quantum magnetics and, the ascension sciences and that when I was trying to disprove God, I walked straight into proving God, and it couldn't be denied anymore. As a scientist, I couldn't ignore the data. I couldn't ignore the results of what was coming back to me when I was doing experiments. And in the end, I just had to throw up my hands and say, okay, I'm sorry, I believe God is real. However, God isn't who I, as a Catholic, was raised to think he was. Or even with my mum originally being Church of England, she bought, that was kind of the cool thing about my parents, is that they bought a very multicultural way of teaching me to understand God, because my mum was originally Church of England, who became Catholic when she married my dad, which I just thought was the most selfless thing a person can do, to give up their religion so that they could love another person, is absolutely beautiful. I don't know if I could do it, but just because I'm greedy, because I only just found God again, like my dad and I only just made up. And I've got a lot of years to make up for, over 30 of them, and I don't really want to have to let that go. So I would be okay with whoever I end up with as my husband. He can be whatever religion he wants, as long as he doesn't try and interfere with mine, and he let me learn from his, because everybody's got Indigenous people everywhere, and if I can have a little bit of understanding about the way, certain religions and that see their gods and death and the afterlife, and that helps me do my work even more, especially within his family and his community, if he's of a different culture, because it means then I can at least offer some level of understanding and sympathy to what they're going through based around their beliefs. So I'm fine with that, but what I was told is that the name you give your faith has got nothing to do with anyone, including God. He doesn't care if you don't call him God. You can call him the universe, you can call him the divine, you can call him the ancestors, you can call him maths, physics, a nursery rhyme, non-existent. He doesn't care. He doesn't care what you call him, Allah, Shiva, Ganesh. He doesn't care what you believe in, just that you believe. God is the belief, because when you have the belief in something, you have hope. And without hope, you have no faith. You give up believing in anything. You give up believing that anything's out there trying to, help you through your darkest days and that. And he's here to say, well, no, that's not true. You just have to look for the help. If you've gotten yourself into a mess you need to get yourself out of, you have to go to him for help. He's there holding out his hand, but you have to be the one to reach out and say, take it. Or if he sent you a master maker, that's not true. You aren't going through it alone. There are people right there waiting for you to reach out to them. But you're the one that has to do it. It's all to do with the size of your ego. If you are completely innocent and you are trapped in all of it, all you have to do is your best. Try your best and your hardest and make it through the end of the day. And that's you surviving it one more day in faith. And if you can have that mindset of, I'll just give it one more day, and then you make it to the end of that day, that's you walking in faith, in the hope that tomorrow could bring a better day. That's God. It's man who put faces on everything. It's a psychological thing. We have to. In order to identify whether something is friend or foe, we have to put a face on it. That's what pareidolia is all about. Our brain has to put faces on things to identify whether it's a friend or foe, or whether we can walk straight past without fear. Freeze, flee, fight, or friend. So that's what pareidolia is. A lot of things that get mistaken for ghosts and the paranormal and all of that, and it's not. It's just a trick of the mind. Include, like when you're kids and you think that your raincoat is a person. Your raincoat holder. Because my little boy used to have it was shaped like a pencil, and we used to put all his little coats and stuff on it, and sometimes when it was dark and stormy and creepy and weird, he used to sometimes think that there was someone in his room, reaching out for him because of the shadows on the wall. But you know, I'd come and turn on the light, we'd go and turn on the light and assure him. And once we put the little TV in his room and he had that permanent light in his room, he was completely fine. Then we gave him a torch, and he was in control of his torch, and we let him. We armed himself. We armed him. Sorry, I armed him with the tools to combat what he was afraid of in the dark, by making him realise it was all in his head. And by the time he was 6, 7, 8 years old, that kid was teaching me psychology. My eldest son Thomas is the whole reason why I got into psychology, because that kid knew things that was way beyond his years. So he helped me find faith again, because I knew that he was an angel. I always knew all babies are angels. And when an angel is giving you advice, you listen. Once they get to about 8 or 9, they very rarely, that's when they're starting to go into their cocoon and develop their own personalities and that sort of thing. And yeah, without being a mum, I wouldn't be doing half of this. My boys, I know my eldest went on to give advice to people online who were dealing with all sorts of issues to do with the paranormal and that, because he used to love watching the videos with me, and he started passing on, oh, my mum's an occult scientist, and she would say that it was this, 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 and this. And people used to say to him, how do you know this stuff? And he'd say, because my mum, it's what my mum does. She taught me, and people are like, oh, wow. And this is when he was like 11. So, it's little things like that. When the things that you say, see, and do become an inspiration to other people, where they go off and do good things with it, that's God. You've created something wonderful. You've created a light and a hope and an inspiration in somebody else that makes their day brighter, that makes their day easier. That is God. The word God means creation, or create, to create. And if you're creating something in your life or developing something within your abilities and skills, or your thoughts or your manifestations, that become an inspiration for other people or just get you to the end of the day, that is God. The power of God, the power of creation is in us, in every single thing we do. And just getting to the end of the day and giving it one more day, every single day, that is God, that is faith. That means that you haven't given up hope, and that's all God needs from us. He just needs us to not give up on hope. Everything is happening exactly how it is meant to happen. The only way we can change the world is if we change ourselves first, because we have to be strong enough to stand together to fight the devil. We have to fight our demons in order to fight the devil, which is the quantum menace, the battle of two worlds. That's exactly what that's about. People fighting. She jumps through time to go to people like Sho, the Shaolin monk and the illusionist and that, and she finds them. When she jumps into the future and sees an apocalyptic world, she goes to gather all of her friends. She follows the codes in the paintings and songs and books and all of that, and jumps through the codes, through the painting, to the people who wrote them and created them, and that sort of thing. And then she trains them up. She teaches them to fight their demons, and then trains them up to come back with her to fight the bad guy at the end, which is Heracles, the devil. And they all team up to fight the devil together, to fight Heracles together. She gathers all the mutants together. And then they have like the big fight scene at the end with Art Morda, which is Germanic for Thor killer, the one who killed Thor. Yeah, and like all his minions gather together for a big scene, not realizing that they were standing on an illusion that where the rug gets pulled out from under them, they go falling into the abyss, and then that's when that's when Heracles comes down. They see who the big boss is, and then as they start to fight Heracles, that's when the Quantum Menace movie part one finishes, and Quantum Menace movie part two, The Legend of Heracles, begins, and it starts going backwards. So, faith. Have faith in all that you do, even if no one's watching, even if, I mean, most of us don't want anyone watching. You know, have faith in you, have faith in all that you are, have faith in you and your abilities and your skills. If you know in your heart that you are not who people say you are, if you know in your heart you are innocent, if you know in your heart you're a good person, excuse me, if you know in your heart you're not a bad person, if you know in your heart that the labels that have been put on you don't belong there, then I'm the messenger for you. Because the reason why you don't fit in is because you were born to stand out. And a black sheep can't hide among a flock of white sheep. The black sheep is born to stand out because you've been chosen. You've been chosen to be the one to break the karmic cycle. You could have been chosen to be the one to solve the murder in your office block from 30 years before you were even born. That might have been what you were chosen for, but in order for you to reach that enlightenment, you have to step away from all the darkness. You have to know which voice is what, where it's coming from, who's sending it, what you've absorbed, what you've allowed to absorb. Depending on your situation, depending on your story, it has all been because you've been marked out by God to say, I need you to do something really important for me, and you're the only person that can do it in the whole world. So, shouldn't that be making you feel special? You're not different, you're special. You're not odd, you're chosen. It's you might not be wanted in your family or your society, but you're wanted by God. You're wanted by creation itself to be the one to make a monumental difference in the world, in your little corner of the globe. Even if that whole world that you make a difference in is just in the lives of a couple of people that you talk to online, once you've learnt some things about yourself, or because then you do a series of paintings or photographs or write a book or something that ends up becoming read and watched and worshipped by millions of people all over the world for years to come, because when they read your story, they know what you did to survive it. And when you survive it, God holds you aloft, the universe, your ancestors, the ones that you call your spirit guides, and the divine, that's the council of elders, your spirit guides. I'm just going to ask spirit, I'm just going to ask my guides. That's the council of elders. And when you pass a trial, they hold you aloft, they raise you up to make you shine even brighter, to say to the world, look what I created, look what I did, look what they did, look, everybody look, see, like a trophy, they hold you up like a trophy, and then you become the star, you become immortalized forever. You, like Marilyn Monroe, like Albert Einstein, you become that, a legend, a true star, whether you want to or not, because it means that your work was respected. When people have respect for you, your work lasts forever. You become an indelible mark in history forever. And that's all any real creative person wants, as a writer or an artist or a musician, and They just want to be able to produce that one piece of work that will stay with their name forever. I'm just having a sip of my coffee. But the most talented people in the world have given up because they've lost hope, they've lost faith. And faith starts from within. How much faith do you have in yourself? How much faith do you have to believe that your ancestors are going to get you through this? How much faith do you have in your God? It's all a test of faith. But once you have faith, even just a little, even just in yourself, even if it's just in hearing my voice, helps you get through that day one more day, then you've had faith in me, which means you've had faith. You found faith, and that's the light that sparks a whole new way to see things. It becomes the light in your dark. Every time someone tries to blow out your flame, don't ever let anyone blow out your flame. If you have to be a lighthouse only to yourself, don't let anyone have the right to control how bright your flame burns, because your flame is your connection to your ancestors. It ignites the gases that allows you to see with perfect clarity just how much your ancestors have your back. That's the ether stage of your ascension, when you go from air to ether, from communicating and getting out all your thoughts and plans and ideas, and that's the air stage. Learning to speak out, learning to speak out. And then the ether stage is when you start meeting your ancestors and having a connection to your ancestors, even if that means realizing or finding out that, you know, you have indigenous roots, which is why a lot of people find out they have a fascination with space, usually, as they find out somewhere along the line they have indigenous roots, because we were the original star navigators. So we're the ones who breed the kids that have a fascination with space. Because to us, when we look up at the sky, we just see a big TV screen that plays the movies and stories and that are of our evolution, where we came from. It's like our record books, our library, our encyclopedia, our Netflix. So, yeah, so it all starts with faith. To bridge the gap, all you need to do is have faith. And then whatever you want to call God, you can call him God, you can call him Chantel, you can call him whatever you want, he doesn't care. It's inconsequential, because he's not even he or she anyway. Creation is creation. Creation is whatever you want it to be. If you want to believe that your God is a woman, then you go for it. As long as what it is that you believe in makes you happy and healthy and the best possible version of yourself, and don't be a hypocrite with it. If you are following preachings that are telling you to be a good person and you do the opposite, then you're a hypocrite and you won't have the support of anybody on the other side. That's how it works. Because creation is honest. Creation is truth, and it's the light. Creation gives life, like a big bang on so many different levels, like fireworks. Creation gives life like fireworks. One spark sets it off. One flame sets it off. And that one flame can be you. So don't let anyone try to force you to hide your light under a bush. Don't let anyone try to blow out your flame. Don't let anyone try to extinguish your light, because your light is your connection to your ancestors. The flame represents the telephone line between you and your ancestors. And whatever they're trying to extinguish in you, they're trying to extinguish in your ancestors. because you're a threat, which means you're something special. Because people don't pick on you if you're not special. And this is what you need to understand, and you have to be honest with yourself. Who embraces your faith? Who tries to bring it out in you? Who reminds you that it's there? Who are the ones that try to help you see from a better point of view, where you know that their advice, when you take it, works? These are the people that are telling you not to give up. God sends you help in so many different kinds of ways. It's not about who you believe you should have faith in. It's about what you believe you should have faith in. The who is inconsequential, because the what, with all gods, is all the same. Enjoy your life, be good to people, don't do anyone any harm, and you'll prosper. That's pretty much the moral message for any religion. Enjoy your family, enjoy your life, enjoy this beautiful planet that I've given you while you're here. And then if you're a good person, not only will I take care of you in this life, but when you die, you get to come to a heaven that's even better than the one I tried to give you on earth. That's pretty much it for all religions. So the name of the God means nothing. It's the message. Even if the message is coming from someone that you least expect, because God likes to be like that. If he's got to put an elephant's head on it, give it multiple arms and legs, or a little poor indigenous woman from New Zealand sitting in an island, sitting on an island in her t-shirt and undies, putting out these little messages, like, you'll be surprised at where the messages come from, but if it's effective and it's making a difference in your life, then you were sent help. So don't ever think you're going through it alone. When it resonates, it hits you like a bomb. It just, something gets triggered in you, and you just know, yep, she's right, or yep, that happened. That sort of thing. It's undeniable. You can't deny it. The supernatural is the undeniably can't be denied, unexplainable. Like, you can't explain it, but it can't be denied. They're miracles. And in the supernatural world, they happen every day. I live in a world surrounded by miracles. I perform them and see them all the time. It's just so beautiful. I would rather live in my world than the paranormal world. I got out of that stuff when I was a teenager. That's why I know what to do. I've been studying myself for a long time. Since I was a latchkey kid and things used to go jumping off the wall in our house and at the army camp, and even before that, the story of the lady with the long white hair and all of that we used to see at the window. And when I was like, before I could even walk, I had experiences that I needed to understand what the hell happened. And now I understand it. Now I know. Now I get it. So now I can bring you the answers, and you can figure it out too. I just put the recipe book out there. I put the recipe out. You're the one that has to put it all together and make from it what you have to. I'm giving you the answers, but you're the one that has to take the test. I'm not gonna, don't drag me in on any of your tests. People try. No, thank you. I have to keep myself out of it. So I have my master makers. I'm fine, thanks. So yeah, faith bridges the gap between the paranormal and the supernatural, between the subconscious mind and the conscious mind, between karma and dharma. between good versus evil, between light and dark. It's all to do with your level of faith. So just something to think about there. And until next time, I will speak to you later. Ka kite anō. Till we meet next time.